make sure this works before I get started because this is take 2. This is apparently going live on Twitter. Okay, so let's just go ahead and so first thing I do is on the weekends, like usually Saturday, I like to do them from my phone lately, just sitting downstairs, just weekly estimated moves. And so I kind of did the data a little bit, but what I do is you go to your ES, RTH only, regular trading hours, 15-minute candles, and I take that 345 15-minute close. You tell on TradingView, for some odd reason, 4 to 415 is considered RTH. I like to take this one, so it's 64.2575. I already did that one, and then the SPXs, you'll see a little difference too. This is the 15-minute close candle is going to be the 4 o'clock close, 4 o'clock exactly. And then you have a kind of this weird candle. So TradingView says the close is going to be 6388.65, which is definitely different. So we're going to take 6390.09, 6390.09, and then we're going to do that with NQ. NQ, you can tell after hours went up. Close. So, see the daily close. See the daily close right here. It's way up here. My close is 422. So we have a little discrepancy, but with that, we have, ES is going to show 35.66. NQ NDX is 146.62, and then every week they're going to get closer and closer and closer until quad witching every quarter. They're basically going to be the same, and then we'll start at like 50 for ES and NQ again. So what I do is for ES and NQ, I use SPX and NDX data. So XPX, you're going to put in 6309.09, and then we look over here on Thinkorswim, and you're going to grab August 1st, which is 89.309. Plug that in. Just the close, ups plus the estimated move, downs minus estimated move. And then EF, this one's already going to be adding in. So EF is 35.66 points above SPX. So you have basically this plus 35.66 already added up. Here you go to NDX. August 1st, 397.01. So we're going to go to NDX with the close, 23,275.88, 7.24. And then those are already on there. I don't really have to do anything right here. And then we'll just go through them, kind of look at them. It's earnings week, so it's kind of very interesting. And then these, I used to go the same way, but with stocks, I don't really think it's going to matter that much. So I just go from right here, this last 213.88. 88, and then work down the list. I was trying to you had earnings this week. I like to also add the asterisks on earnings because I know Meta has it. Meta, Microsoft. Amazon. We'll just go through it all. 331.4, 12.318. Amazon has it. So Amazon does have it, 12.318. Now, I used to keep track of the averages. Like Amazon, I think this was all before Trump averages. So Amazon used to be 5.5. So I can tell, if it's up or down based on the average, but you can just tell, when you input it in. So we can just go, let's just go to this one, Amazon. Two screens, so I don't have to keep going back and forth. Upper estimated 231.44. 43.6. 19.12. So pretty, I mean, the downside estimate moved, barely moved, but you can tell that upper estimate moved pretty well high up. So, you know, going through, I thought this is where I like to kind of do my analysis too, is the upper estimate move is going to be all-time high. So definitely if we do push on earnings, we're going to be looking for all-time highs, look for kind of that estimated move, kind of be the sell point, you know, how many, you know, Bezos is probably going to sell a bunch of all-time highs. And then you can tell like this lower estimate was pretty good, you know, former. Kind of like a former resistance that turned support. So those estimate moves actually look pretty legit. We'll just go through them. Coin, I don't really mark coin up unless I look to play it. But with the Bitcoin run up, I really haven't been playing it. Google had earnings last week, so their earnings are a little bit down. I like to kind of try to get this done early on the weekend because news does come out over the weekend, and these do change. Like if you sit here and watch, these will change. IWM 5.65. Meta has earnings 43 points, pretty good. Previously, 15 points. That was a lot. I need to keep back up on those averages, but it does help. Microsoft does have earnings 21.436. X. Netflix is one a lot of people just is popular, so I do it. Play Netflix that much. I kind of hope it splits so I can get shares. Finish all this up. PLTR was added because it's very popular. If you guys ever want to add something that becomes popular, I play a lot, like Hood should be up here. I should have Hood up here. Able to do it. It's not that this isn't that hard for me to do. Qs. The Qs is like right under 10. Previously it's been above 10. So we're kind of looking at kind of like a lower estimate move, so possibly like a one direction move and then a reversal. Or earnings could take us one way because we have Meta, Microsoft one day, and then the next day we have Apple, Amazon. So we go up one day, down one day. Kind of watch how those are. SPY under 10. And the main thing is I only do these over the weekend, and I always keep these levels. I try to do daily ones. They don't really work the best. And also I was told that daily ones, you kind of do it from the opening price, which is interesting. I've never really tried to do that. I always do the last week close. Some H, some asked for too. Previous ones. I gotta look back up at the previous ones of these. And then later I'll just do the the earnings, extra earning ones, just for fun. And then also with ES, these are the half. So this would be +1 half. That's going to be half, so half up estimated move, like half estimated move, which a lot of people do sigma. So that's going to be like the half standard deviation. It's going to be the lower standard deviation. I'm going to test that. It seems might as well have it up there. I don't, these levels don't hurt at all. That's pretty much complete. So tomorrow what I do is I try to add all these on my charts to make sure it looks legit. Sometimes you can tell some days I put them out and they're pretty bad. Or I made a few mistakes. That's the weeks I don't really do this. And then I also want to go over kind of just do a timeline of what I've been watching on Gamma and whatnot. If we could go back to good day. Let's try to find a good day. I'm like things we do. Let's just do Friday. Friday was just a slow grind up. Okay. 25th. Going to turn on my time sliders. You're gonna make this gamma, this one delta, and then this one net drift. All right. Well, let's not make it full screen because the right side cuts off. So, I try to send out like kind of a early morning, early morning. So like, let's say like 9:15. We'll start at 9:15 on all of them. Let's slide this back. So, like 15. So puts are kind of leading, calls are going down, but this is like 100,000. Like it's not much, a lot of money going in this. Early on, the obvious was kind of this 6,400, 6 billion off the bat is pretty crazy. And then it kind of 6,360, and then we had the delta flip 6,370, 6,375. So pretty sure what I did was put that on my chart. I can't keep track of these. 70, 65. So it probably moved down. Watch that. 70, 65, that's right. 70, 75. I had that one, I had the bottom one. Go to just after open. Nothing's changed. So things opened up. It was 3 minutes, you could tell really didn't increase that much right here, but downside increase. So, off the bat, possibly looking longs. Delta. So I don't really have the best knowledge on this. This is all kind of new to me too. Delta, kind of just what strikes, they're buying calls, they're net long. So when I see this is pretty solid at, every strike they're net long at. 933, kind of off the bat, we're back and forth. On net drift, we really didn't really start going in one direction till like 12 o'clock. 120. So net drift wasn't the hardest. That's probably why I didn't go with XPX calls, because this really doesn't show a direction, a true direction. So the first one I always look at is 945, 944. Let's get it. This is just showing. This is just like delta all positive. This is just mean like buy every little intraday dip. And then you tell almost 9, hitting almost 10 billion. So exposure on 6400 is stronger. I don't really look into red, green, which one. I just picked the highest one. I'm not trying to I don't really even know what gamma does. But the strategy works, and kind of dumbing down gamma has helped me a lot through this. So based on this, taking a risk at 6400 calls would have been good. Kind of early on, SPX is a little bit more pricey, a little harder to gauge. What I like is, waiting for that 10:30 or waiting for that 11:30, 12 where Europe closes has been really good. 10:30 rolls around. Well, I want to see flip 70 to 65. So that's that flip. So we knew the gamma flip was 70 to 65. So basically, you just went green, the first green one, the first red one. Keep it simple. And that would have been like legit. 6400 calls would probably be super cheaper. I would have went a little bit more in the money, probably 6390 would have been better. Let's see. Yes, it's because they're expired, but you miss out on seeing that. I gotta do that. I gotta check it tonight. Okay, so we go 10:30. Let's see what changed from 9:30 to 10:30. Have a stronger. Now we're just over 10 billion. So get a little stronger. 10:30 was still a little rough. Like this overall was definitely rough to watch. So it didn't really. The risk was a little bit more. And then it goes kind of like 11:30, 12. Once again, all positive delta. You could tell 6390 kind of increased. 10 billion, 16 billion. So marking up 6390 there, it's possibly like maybe a PT1 and then 6400 for PT2. We could mark that up. It could be 70. So definitely, good. 380. So good 10 points. Futures is pretty good. Options, SPX, if you time that well, like average down there, that would have been a pretty good solid gain on SPX. Then we'll kind of go towards like end of day. Watch Delta. She doesn't match up. See Delta, still 6400. Watch, and it is a little harder with gamma because it moves so fast. You tell Delta flip 6390, 6395 at 355. Dropped. We started 348. Let's 350, 352, 352. It dropped. And let's see if I could just find a one day where it kind of just goes back and forth. We're Tuesday, July 22nd. This would be a nice read. Just kind of same thing. Before market open. What we're seeing, the first 63.25 is the highest. Green, 62.95 is leading the way. So I'd mark those both up. Delta, definitely 62.70. It's kind of like a little flip, the Delta positive. So they're net long here, the net short here. So, you know, especially if we won't climb through this. If you ever see like a huge negative, they're selling here. So when we hit there, they're going to sell it. 5. Gamma wall above. Low was definitely 62.85. He's 285. I had something different, but he's 285, he's 265. So 45 puts greatly increased, calls dropped. So we go back to that day. We here that MVC pre-market 62.95. 62. So this should be 62.85, right? Yeah, 85 was leaving. You know, off the bat, the largest gamma is down. Usually we're going to go down. It kind of helps with bias throughout the day. We have 945. 940, when that NVC hits, you know, what we could do is usually we will break it and bounce. I've seen that happen. We'll break it, kind of use it as support. You know, just use your typical thing. But then you want another MVC down here. You want a continuation. If it stays there, usually we're going to go back up, and then you'll see a reversal. I need to get the stats for that. It hits, reverses, whatnot. Go back. 1030 probably look a little different because the market did reverse. $10.30, you're kind of getting more positive. 62.80 still holding, but we kind of increased at 63.10. But we have our flip. I remember on this day we chopped at the flip. Just 6,300, 62.95. 6,300, 62.95. So that's where we chopped from just after 10:30 to 1. So 2 hours. So when we chopped puts kind of overall did the same, possibly going down. Calls definitely started to increase. So I was like, are we going to break through it? You know, we can watch Delta. You know, they're buying 6,300. So let's see if they can get the 6,300. Then we might be able to get the 6,315. Have the like net buying here. You want to see them go from 60 to 6,300 to the next red one, 6,315. So different at 12. That upside is definitely getting way bigger. Wish I could play this. 6,300. Look how badly they're net long at 6,300. We broke up They tried. Crossed 123. Price broke out around, let's go to 1. Let's just do it by hour by hour. 1 o'clock, you said downside 12, so minus 4 billion. 1, still minus 4 billion, but you can tell that upside 9, 5. So the upside, that 63, this upside almost doubled. It was a huge net long. But looking at this, it didn't seem like upside but it had that much more potential. Like this is overall kind of net short. Like upside can make money, but you're risking it. So we came back down 130. So let's see if that delta changes. So that delta starts to change. Now this looks pretty good for the upside. We're net long 6,300 to 6,320. Like let's mark our up. Net long here. Red means green. Pretend. So 6,320 would have been like a good eye on that. But also, I had a 1 p.m. MVC, 6310, and then he kind of tapered off. So, definitely watching sit at 6310, 6310. We crossed at 120. So, everything kind of lined up to go long, but long until 6330. Let's see if anything changes that too. So, look at that tower. Have a wall, delta wall there. Gamma wall. Delta looked pretty good. And what was our next breakout? Up 19. But just before 219, they dropped it. 230. When they dropped it, look at that. Look at how they dropped it. 62.95 got huge for 1 minute. And then it goes right back. So definitely watching these. Wish it was easier to. This one's not that bad to look at. These are really good to look at when they don't have end of day, because these bubbles get so big. But overall, you can tell how they wanted to get net long. We came up here. But it was short. Because why? Look at all this delta. All this net delta here was short. And then we started getting a little bit in. Longer. We started getting more. The 6,300 break. A little bit here. 1 o'clock, you tell, look how big those got. Once I see that delta exposure go higher, then it looks like we're going to make a move. We crossed at 123. For all that positive delta came in. Calls came in. Definitely 6,300 had a hedge. If they're short 6,300 or whatever, they had the hedge buying calls. But that's overall technically what I look at. I'm still learning. Still trying to get this craft done, but I'm pretty sure like maybe 3 or 4 have been wrong in the last 2 to 3 months, which is really good way. I mean, we banked the other day. Once I get more and more used to this, get more confident, and this is just going to grow into this machine of XPX 0 days, and we're just going to kill it. Y'all appreciate it. Like and subscribe if you guys haven't subscribed. Subscribe to my Twitter. Subscribe to my TikTok. We can start getting this all going once again. I kind of miss all this, but appreciate it.